What I like about the old-time dictatorships and quite frankly, what I like about Saudi Arabia and the kingdom and places like that, where you really don't have a lot of rights, is the people that can't flap their big fucking mouths. Because just like I believe everybody doesn't deserve to be alive, everybody doesn't deserve to have a motherfucking opinion. And one thing about poor people is they all got they got a motherfucking opinion. And you ask yourself why. And back in and I'm not saying Saddam Hussein and those guys were, they were high performance people. Believe me, they all were. But I think that not everybody should have opinion. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Guys like him think it. But it's certainly not politically correct to say that now. Now they get up on the talking heads on TV and everybody's got a fucking opinion. Oh, that's great. But if you step them aside after a drink, or not even after a drink, they wish that everybody didn't have an opinion. Because remember, there's two kinds of people, desperation and inspired. Almost everybody's desperate. 87% of the people on the planet are unhappy, according to Gallup poll. And the people that do polls like that kind of thing, 87.6 are unhappy. I've yet to find, this is a slight Trump exaggeration, I've yet to find the 13 that are happy. I'm still looking around, but, I think Warren Buffett's happy. I think the Queen of England's happy. I'm happy, but we don't represent 13% of the people. And the real thing that QLA does, and this sounds shitty, it takes advantage of the unhappiness in the world. We're giving these people a fucking exit that no place else would they get for their business. Most people have no succession plan, meaning they plan when I die, my kids or my grandkids, that kind of thing. Most of the kids today don't want to, and when I say kids, I don't mean little kids, but I mean most of the children of the people that own these businesses that we save. And we've had some real Bible thumpers come through here, real religious people that they've really latched on to QLA because they latched on to the idea, I'm saving this person because he has no other alternative. Because they don't have enough. Now, what are they going to do? We used to say in the 90s, they're going to die falling into their in basket. Because in those days, they had baskets, these things on your desk with an in tray, an out tray. Well, now they don't have in basket. Now, I don't know how you fall into your fucking computer. I don't know how you do that. But that was their exit strategy, dropping dead in their in basket or out basket. What are the exit plans now for the entrepreneurs that have businesses? They don't have any. We already shown that at least half the people are going to die before they're going to die. They're going to run out of money before they die. Some of those people would rather die before they ran out of money. But we're helping those people. Those same people that I have disdain for, that everybody's got a fucking opinion. Now, there's certain things like the kids are rioting in Hong Kong right now because the Chinese are fucking them over, supposedly. I understand that from this civil disobedience, so to speak, that good has come throughout centuries. But you can count those civil disobedience things on about 10 fingers since the beginning of the planet. And it's been a lot more than fucking 10 opinions from poor people since the planet started 13.89 billion years ago. And I believe, like when we listened to Kevin O'Leary yesterday, and I quoted two of his, and he's got a lot of sayings. I just took two, but everybody's got a fucking opinion. When I look through YouTube and you shouldn't let this, why do you let that guy come to the seminar? And why did this? And why do you even listen to these questions? And et cetera, et cetera. Of course, he's got an opinion, right? An opinion that's not worth shit. And yet, Elon, who I have a lot of respect for, I keep pointing like he's back there, but there's a slide there, has got some very severe opinions, one of which is, my mentality is that of a samurai. I would rather commit seppuku than fail. That means commit suicide. Kill himself than fail. And you wonder why he's so goddamn successful. Kill himself rather than fail. Now, all these poor fuckers on YouTube don't think that. They want to have their cafe latte. How much does a latte cost at Starbucks?
$4.
$4? Fuck. We talk about margin. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Okay. But, you know, they're not willing to make those kind of sacrifices. There's, you know, he's either going to succeed or he's willing to die for it. And when thinking back over the 26 years that I've coached you kids, the guys and the gals that have really made the biggest impact are guys and gals that thought like this. Now, early on in my career, I thought like this. I'm not willing to die over success now, but I used to be, for sure. There were 3 or 4 things I'd take a bullet for. Okay? My country, my family, and my business. Now, you know, I'll let you pick which one of the ones of the 3 that I'm still willing to take a bullet for. But that's the kind of commitment it takes. And the kids that have, it's been my experience, the kids that have the most opinions accomplish the least. The kids that flap their mouth the most. And especially the kids that have comments about what you're doing here. Of course, you're here. Some of you struggled more to get here vis-a-vis money. Some of you struggled more to get here vis-a-vis emotional commitment. Some of you, as we talked about in the first couple of days, made your commitment to come here just after you've heard me a few minutes, a few hours, whatever. Some of you took more time. But you made that commitment. And so you put your money where your mouth is vis-a-vis your opinion. And and when, like the movie you saw last night, Love Means Zero, I've known it meant zero since, I won't say 5, that's be a fucking exaggeration, but certainly since I'm 15. I knew it didn't mean dick. And that's, I'm sure, because I was around a rough-ass guy, my dad. My dad, when he was 88 or 89, said he loved me. That was it. We're talking one time. 88, 8 or 9. He lived a few more years. Love wasn't a word. Although my mother was a nourishing mom, like some of your moms. But what are some of the takeaways about Love Means Zero, the movie about the greatest tennis coach of all time? Yes, sir.
That coach broke the patent, like taking the kids away from their parents.
Took them away normally right at the end of when self-esteem's built. Remember, just like the Spartans took away the kids. What else? Yes, sir.
He didn't think about it, so he couldn't even answer the question.
He didn't even know who his 7 or 8 ex-wives were, which I think is hilarious. And when I talk to him on the phone, I mean, that's not bullshit. His top aide knows all of them, but Nick doesn't. What else?
Never willing to apologize for anything.
That sounds like President Trump. There was a movie about 40 years ago, a love story, and the kind of the theme of the story was being in love is never having to say you're sorry, which is a load of cock. But the big guys and gals don't apologize. They never say they're sorry. They always double down, triple down, quadruple down. Whereas, and I'm just saying generically, what does everybody else do? Just the antithesis. Remember, success leaves clues. I keep harping on, how is not just yours, but almost everybody that's ever sat in this room, how is your program worked out? What else? Yes, sir.
Winning is more important than everything else.
Amen. Our children got taken out of sports, more or less, when they started going to giving you participation ribbons as opposed to first, second, and third place ribbons. Participation. Now, when like playing Little League Baseball, as soon as I think you get 2 or 3 runs ahead, they call the game. There's no more 15-1 or is it 8 runs? Okay, 8 runs. And just when that started to happen, our kids were finished with athletics because I didn't want them to get a participation ribbon. And it's like now, and I commented yesterday, that guys and gals run marathons for the experience, and they have people that run 5, 6, 7, 8-hour marathons. You can walk in about 8 hours, a brisk walk. The whole emphasis towards competition has changed. What else about Nick? Yes, sir.
It wasn't discussed in the documentary, but I learned that he was a former Army officer. So he's well versed in processes and procedures. For instance, taking children into his camp, beating them emotionally.
Well, back when he started those camps, he beat them physically too, not just emotionally.
And training from sunrise to sunset.
Correct. And now, they say you should have rest days, and that's all new. And I know the biology and the scientific data says that you got to rest your muscles. I understand all that. But I don't think the Spartans had rest days. I'm being facetious. I know they didn't have rest days. The Nazis in the Blitzkrieg, when they invented that terminology, Blitzkrieg, they didn't have rest days. You went until you dropped. And now it's coming out that most of the armies were jacked up on amphetamines so that they could stay awake. Now, 70 years after the fucking war, and some people say some of the groups, the elite groups, still are using, they don't call them amphetamines, they call them something else. What else? Yes, sir.
Linked to that, the level of discipline that the players need to have in order to remain in the program or the academy.
Yeah. And how he broke up with Agassi. Agassi, if I remember correctly, read about it in the newspaper. Okay.
Pardon? He didn't face it.
No, they haven't talked. They haven't talked. Apparently, 25 years later, 20 years later, whatever it is. But that old man, I'm not sorry to say, but reminds me of me. He's a few years older than I am, and he just, he doesn't give a shit. He's just based on results. And just like I say, I'm selfish. I want you to succeed, and I'll do whatever I can to make you succeed. But if you drop dead tonight, it's next. And Nick, and when you talk to him, he comes across harsher even than on the film when you actually hear him. I've only talked to him on the phone, and he's really like it. And a lot of the great coaches, Woody Hayes from Ohio State football, Bobby Knight from basketball, he got suspended and fired for choking one of his players or hitting one of his players with a fucking chair. This is how they think. Now you hit a player with a chair, you're going to the big house, you're going to jail. Okay? But having said that, the records of some of the coaches of the old days are still the records. Not that there's no safeguards. A guy I know taught at the Air Force Academy. He's a West Point graduate. They have safeguards. If as a freshman, the seniors are getting on you too much, you pull out your fucking card. Safe card. When I when I spoke at Krakow University in Poland, I had the privilege a couple of years ago. We were in the physics building, as I recall. Beautiful campus, And this is a scientific university, so they're all like Einstein walking around like Cyclops. And I saw this big sign. We were on the 3rd floor, and it's dead quiet, like you're in a funeral parlor. And I asked our guide, the other class, people are walking around talking. This is a safe floor. Safe like an SAFE? Well, what does that mean? It says when you're too stressed. Your exams were just too tough. You were asked a question in class that, you were embarrassed because you couldn't answer. You come here. I said, are you fucking shitting me? You're yanking my chain, right? You're just trying to piss me off, right? And I started yelling. No, this is the safe floor. And then I asked a couple senior professors. Yeah. But now in boot camp, in the military, you can't get on them like you used to. When I was in boot camp, 1966, they were still hitting people and shit like that. And in the infinite wisdom of the military, United States Army, they didn't believe in the rest days in those days. You just went until you dropped. And more recently, the Marine Corps was probably the last to change, and they haven't changed as much as some of the other services. Where you go until you drop, more or less, and that's it. What else about Nick? Anything else? Another question. Can you relate anybody in your life, other than the guys that have been in the military, anybody that you've been exposed to, been around, you've chilled with, you've hung with, that's like Nick? No. The only time you get that kind of experience is normally through military exposure. There was a question. Somebody had a question over here. Yes, sir.
No, about Nick. He kind of created, made the players believe there was an emotional bond. He was their father. It was kind of fake because if you meet them.
Yeah. I've told you about the 3 or 4 times my dad thought he should bond with me, and that was that. And the strange thing, when he was in his late 80s, early 90s, he had blocked all that out either on purpose or by accident. He didn't remember any of that. And when I asked him something to the effect, I said, Dad, do you remember ever telling me that you love me? Yeah, about a year ago, he said. And it was about a year ago. So you didn't forget everything. He kind of smiles and looks down. Sally used to ask him, because he was involved, he was the special ops guy that they brought in out of retirement to handle the Sirhan case. Sirhan assassinated Robert Kennedy in 1968, and they forever until he was probably 85. He's being interviewed about it. It was a cover-up. It was a cover-up. It was a cover-up. Wasn't JFK's, his older brother, a cover-up? They got shot in Dallas, and so he did remember some things. Anything else about Nick? Yeah.
Once his kids stopped performing, stop working with them.
That's why I have a lot of admiration for teachers. I mean, school teachers. They're underpaid, overworked, and it's a thankless fucking job. It's a thankless job. I mean, and we've had some retired teachers come through here. I told you about the Kuwaiti guy, the headmaster. Just imagine you underpaid and year after year dealing with fucking dipshits. And then once in a while you get a student, my teachers say, once in a while you get a student like Dan. Okay? Now, they say that in hindsight, but when I was in school, I was a retard. But now, there are teachers that take credit for me, which is fucking laughable to me. And one of my college professors, one of the only ones that really had faith in me, who came here to visit us about 10 years ago, Jim Bennett, Dr. Jim Bennett. He was the only professor in university that somehow saw some kind of light or whatever I've got, aura. But other than him, so when he came with his wife and he came with a little group of college professors, retired. So when he said that I saw something in Dan, I mean, he wasn't lying. Okay, thank you, YouTube.